Hi, everyone, and welcome to the AI Experience News Roundup. Julian read everything so you don't have to, and I'm here to bring you the most relevant AI stories you probably haven't seen, all in under 10 minutes. Let's dive in.
If you think about what happened from GPT-3 to 3.5 to 4, it just got smarter.
The field became known as artificial intelligence.
Can machines really think?
Why does the most powerful AI company suddenly look like it is running in every direction at once? In an article from The Verge, the site explains that OpenAI may be going through a much more fragile period than it seems. On paper, OpenAI is still a giant, close to 1 billion users, a massive valuation, and a leading position in consumer AI. But over the past few months, there have been more and more signs of disorder. A controversial contract with the Pentagon, abandoned products like Sora, constant leadership changes, key executives leaving, tensions around strategy, and questions about a future IPO. All make OpenAI look like a company that is still trying to find its direction. What makes this interesting is that it says something bigger about the AI market. For a long time, OpenAI could afford to try many things at once: video, chatbots, a super app, entertainment, and consumer products. Today, economic pressure is changing everything. Investors want profits. Costs are exploding. Competitors like Anthropic in coding and Google with its Gemini ecosystem are moving fast. As a result, OpenAI now seems to be focusing more on the products that actually make money, especially business tools and developer tools. Behind all the announcements, there is a simpler reality. Even the world's leading AI company can no longer afford to do everything at the same time. What if your next job was teaching an AI system how to replace you? In articles from The Verge and New York Magazine, journalists describe the rise of a new kind of unstable work. Thousands of skilled professionals, sometimes laid off because of AI, are now making money by helping AI models become better. In practice, lawyers, journalists, teachers, designers, scientists, and screenwriters are being paid to write ideal answers, create scenarios, fix chatbot conversations, find weaknesses in models, or build datasets used to train future versions of ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. What stands out in these articles is the paradox. Many of these workers have already seen part of their job disappear because of AI. And now, in order to survive, they have to share their expertise with the systems that could eventually replace them completely. One worker described it with a very strong quote, "They hand me a shovel and ask me to dig my own grave." Another important point is that this AI economy is starting to look a lot like the platform economy. Tasks appear at any time of day, pay is getting lower, workers are constantly monitored, projects can disappear overnight, and everyone is replaceable. Some people are already calling it the Uber of knowledge. At its core, this article is not only about the future of AI, it may also be about the future of knowledge work. Less stability, more fragmentation, more global competition, and constant pressure to sell your expertise before it gets automated too. What if AI has already started changing your job, even before your company has an official plan for it? In an article from NBC News, a study by Epic AI and Ipsos found that 20% of full-time American workers say AI has already replaced some of their tasks at work. That is an important number because it shows that AI-driven changes in the workplace are no longer theoretical or futuristic. They are already happening. At the same time, 15% of workers also say AI has allowed them to do new tasks they were not doing before. This shows that AI is not only removing jobs, it is reshaping them. Some repetitive administrative or research tasks are being handled by AI tools. At the same time, workers now need to learn how to supervise, correct, verify, and manage those same tools. The study also shows that AI use is becoming more normal. Half of Americans say they used AI in the past week. The most common uses are searching for information, writing text, and brainstorming. Not surprisingly, OpenAI is still the leader with ChatGPT, ahead of Google's Gemini and Microsoft's Copilot. Another interesting signal is the rise of AI agents. About 1 out of every 12 users says they have already used an AI agent that can act on its own. That is still a small number, but 2 years ago, this technology barely existed for the general public. Finally, several economists are starting to measure the real impact on the job market. According to new estimates from Goldman Sachs, AI is removing around 16,000 jobs per month in the United States when both automation and changing job tasks are taken into account. That does not mean all of these jobs disappear forever, but it does confirm that AI-driven changes in the workplace are already speeding up. What happens when suddenly everyone in a company can code? In an article from the New York Times, the newspaper explains that companies are starting to face a new and unexpected problem. They are now producing so much code with AI that they no longer know how to manage it. One example in the article is especially striking. A financial services company went from producing 25,000 lines of code per month to 250,000 with tools like Cursor. The result was 1 million lines of code waiting to be reviewed. This is changing the whole logic of software development. In the past, writing code was slow, difficult, and limited to specialized engineers. Today, almost anyone in a company can quickly generate a tool, an automation, or an app with assistance from OpenAI, Anthropic, or Cursor. But this speed creates a new bottleneck. Companies now do not have enough engineers who can review, test, and secure all this code. They are increasingly looking for experienced people who can spot mistakes, security issues, and compliance risks. What makes this interesting is that AI is not only removing tasks, it is also creating new ones. The job of an engineer is already changing. Less time spent writing code and more time spent reviewing, supervising, fixing, and making decisions about what machines produce. And this goes beyond technical teams. When development becomes 10 times faster, marketing, customer support, sales, and product teams also need to keep up. AI is speeding up one part of the company, but it is also putting pressure on the whole organization. At the end of the day, this article may be describing the next big challenge of AI. Not producing things, but controlling what it produces. Is AI becoming the final straw for some experienced workers? In an article from the Wall Street Journal, the newspaper explains that some experienced workers would rather leave the workforce than go through another major wave of technological change linked to AI. These are not people who are afraid of technology. Many of them already lived through the arrival of computers, the internet, and smartphones. But for some workers, AI is arriving at the wrong moment, just a few years before retirement, when they have less desire to learn new tools, new ways of working, and new skills. The article mentions several people who decided to retire earlier than planned because they did not want to spend the last years of their career learning how to use ChatGPT, adding AI tools into every part of their work, or being judged on how much they use AI. This says something bigger about how work is changing. People often talk about younger generations needing to adapt to AI, but we talk much less about older workers who may feel that their expertise, independence, and way of working are being challenged. For some companies, these early retirements may seem useful because they reduce the need for layoffs. But they can also speed up the loss of skills, institutional knowledge, and experience. AI adoption is not only about technology, it is also about fatigue, meaning, trust, and where someone is in their career. That wraps up this week's AI Roundup. Julian will be back on Sunday with a new interview in English or in French, and I'll return for the next news digest soon. If you're enjoying the show, those 5-star ratings really help. See you soon.